When we all work together, anything is possible.
When we partner with one another, success and celebrations are certain.
No matter the obstacle or challenge, our school community's resolve is unmatched, even when it comes to working through a pandemic.
This is our story of perseverance, determination, hope, inspiration, and accomplishment.
Thanks to the incredible partnerships from a community committed to a brighter future for all students.
It is on the top of all of our minds to share with the public the impact that the coronavirus 19 is having on our school system, our state, our region, and country, and to provide you insight into the preparations of this community of schools.
Nearly 2 years to the date, we experienced something none of us could fully imagine. On March 13th, 2020, everything changed in our state, in our country, and in Henry County schools. We were all struggling to understand the nature of this devastating virus that was changing everything about our daily lives. COVID-19 quickly rose to the levels of a global pandemic, consuming all corners of our world, including our thriving community here in Henry County. The places that have always been known as safe havens for young people, our school buildings, would be shuttered, and the basic manner in which we educate kids would be radically altered to keep everyone safe and make certain that learning was still possible. In just 72 hours, classrooms could be moved to kitchen tables, living rooms, garages, and basements, and traditional school supplies would be replaced by digital resources. Faced with these challenges, the employees of Henry County Schools, our teachers, support staff, school leaders, and district officials rallied to ensure that the momentum realized through student achievement increases over the past few years could be carried forth into what was initially thought to be a small moment in time. That small moment stretched into 24 months, and in that time, the mantra of better together proved itself true as everyone moved to help our students through this once-in-a-lifetime event. Virtual meetings, curbside meal pickups, and digital-based content delivery became the norm, and no one was going to allow a student's needs to go unmet. Led by the Board of Education and strengthened by the resolve of our community, our school district remained focused on our most important resources, our employees and our students. Impassioned outreach from community partners, coupled with dedicated employees going beyond the call of duty, helped us to battle the challenges of COVID-19. We also relied on the wisdom of our healthcare community and countless others, all to ensure that we were making a quality public education accessible to all students. When it seemed like key moments in time would inevitably be missed due to the challenges incurred to protect a vulnerable population, the community spirit held strong, and our students would not be denied the traditional special occasions that serve as memory markers when we think of our youth. Graduations were held as the capstone of a year inspired by our collective resilience. And just when we thought we were rounding the corner, COVID-19 dealt us another blow. We experienced heartache with the delayed start of school, the loss of colleagues and family members, the ever-changing ebb and flow of highs and lows of COVID-19 cases. Yet we pulled through, thanks to hope from an available vaccine and a community spirit focused on bringing everyone back together, stronger and healthier than ever. And as if those moments weren't big enough, the community pulled through once again to top it all off with the development of a new 5-year strategic plan. This plan is reflective of everyone's voice, our entire community, their hopes, dreams, and aspirations poured into this plan that will provide the opportunities, access, and outcomes our students deserve. And despite some of the toughest times that any of us will ever face, they gave hope and vision to a brighter tomorrow. When history looks back on this time in our world, all of Henry County can reflect back with pride for the incredible determination that was exercised on behalf of a brighter future for our students. Together we overcame. Together we celebrated. Together we grew stronger, all proving that in the end, anything is possible because we are better together.
Hello, everyone. It is so amazing to see all your beautiful faces. That was such an insightful video. My name is Mahari Jones, and I would like to welcome you to the second annual State of Schools event in our Henry County. I am the president of the Superintendent's Advisory Council and a senior at Eagles Landing High School. Go class of 2022. Before we begin, I would like to introduce the members of our Board of Education and the governance team of the year finalists 2 years running. Firstly, Chair Mrs. Holly Cobb from District 3. Vice Chair Mrs. Annette Edwards from District 5. Board Member Dr. Pam Nutt from District 1. Board Member Mr. Mackenzie McDaniel from District 2, who unfortunately could not be with us today, but his presence is still here in spirit. And lastly, Board Member Mrs. Sophie Pope from District 4. Thank you so much, Board of Education. And at this moment, I would like to recognize all of the other elected officials who could join us today. If you are an elected official in any other capacity, may that be a former elected official or a candidate for public office, please stand so we can recognize and celebrate your presence with us today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today is a celebration of what can be accomplished when we believe in kids, when we believe in schools, when we believe in our teachers, our staff members, and even our school leaders. It is a celebration of what we can accomplish when we believe in each other, and when we believe we must work together for the best possible education for our students in Henry County. And now, with a pleasure, I would like to welcome to the stage Superintendent Davis, joined by Dr. Henson, Mr. Henning, and Mr. Finn.
Well, thank you, Mahari, and welcome. I have to start by just acknowledging that video, it's pretty humbling. It's actually still a little too emotional, I think. It's a humbling reminder of the journey that we have shared together over these past 2 years. And honestly, these past 2 years were following right on the heels of historic student achievement gains and a remarkable, energy-filled community conversation about our hopes, our dreams, and our aspirations for what would be possible for the young people so that we could have a laser focus on our future and a community-inspired strategic plan. Sort of all at once. Hopes were lost, certainty felt confusing, and all the momentum felt halted. It seemed like that might just be a few minutes, maybe 2 weeks, until it turned into possibly indefinitely. But there were bright spots, so many bright spots, and there is evidence that we have strength in this community. It is found in the experiences of our young people. It is found in our school employees, and it is found in profound interagency coordination in this community that I believe is not replicated in any other county across the country. And that's why I stand here not alone. It's why I stand here with Josh and Joe and Lily, and Sherry Matthews would be here but had a conflict today. I stand here not alone to demonstrate that Henry County Schools does not operate in this community independently. We do not operate unilaterally. We do not make decisions in isolation. As a matter of fact, these colleagues and I have partnered in and out of every single day, particularly over the last 2 years, because we consider our responsibility to be service to a shared community and to build a path for a shared future. So to set the context for our state of the schools, I think we first have to get a sense of the state of our community. because our schools are as strong as our community, and our community is as strong as our schools. So I'm going to ask each of the agency heads that were able to join me today to take a few moments and to share their perspective on the state of our community and their perspective on our future. I'm going to start with Josh Fenn from the Economic Development Authority.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Fenn. I'm the Executive Director at Henry County Development Authority. And first, Superintendent, on behalf of the Development Authority Board, we appreciate you, your board, and your team for all you've done to make Henry County shine and make us look really good as we recruit industry and retain industry into our community. We're often tasked as economic developers to market our community, and we're asked about how our schools are doing. During this pandemic, your stories of coming together and success and keeping our students at a high performance level answer those questions before we even got to talk to them. And that made our job a lot easier. As our jobs got easier, we were able to recruit over 5,000 new jobs since the start of the pandemic into Henry County, setting calendar year records in the 6-decade history of the Henry County Development Authority. Those jobs also equal investments of over $760 million infused into our tax digest. And as we're now seeing, our school system and our other government entities have additional resources to add additional programs and raise teacher pay as well too, without increasing the millage rate to our residents. So we're very excited. Our economy is prosperous, and a big reason for that is our partnerships, especially with our school system. And we love to brag about all the new programs you're having, especially with the new robotics going into our elementary schools. So thank you for having us today, and we look forward to another successful year of our partnership. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Henning. I'm the President and CEO for the Henry County Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure to join you today. I got to tell you, 2 years ago, Dr. Davis pulled us all aside. She said, I'm doing the state of the schools, and we're going to do a panel. I didn't realize we were going to have to wait 2 years to get up here and do that. But it was an interesting 2 years, and I know I share that with you. What I found to be the biggest benefit that we got out of this was that our community realized truly what each one of us does. They used to look at me all the time and say, when's your next networking event? When's the next lunch? And we couldn't do that because nobody could get out. And so we really went back to the basics of what we provided. And that's exactly what you did. And that's what the families realized, that you weren't babysitting their kids during the day, you were working. And they know that now. So that is the best takeaway you got out of this, is that ultimate respect from every one of the families, every one of the businesses in Henry County. And I applaud you all. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Lily Henson. I'm the CEO at Piedmont Henry Hospital. Thank you, Dr. Davis, for inviting me to join you in the State of Schools event. On behalf of Piedmont Henry Hospital, I want to say congratulations for the spectacular work that you and your team have done to empower your students with exceptional opportunities and access. You truly have created a nurturing environment that will allow Henry County students to be successful in a global society. I also want to say, just like the others, how proud I am of the incredible collaboration between Henry County Schools and Piedmont Henry Hospital over the last 2 years. We are honored to have been part of the very thoughtful process that Dr. Davis and her team put in place to allow students to safely return to schools early on in the pandemic so that they could learn and engage with each other and their teachers, something that is so critical for the well-being of our students. Piedmont Henry is also really grateful to have been able to be part of the school's COVID vaccination program to ensure the safety of the teachers and the staff. And we appreciated so much the weekly communications and interactions between the school district and the hospital so that we could stay apprised of what was happening in the community and in the schools throughout this pandemic. Quite frankly, as the employer of 1,700 employees and 700 or 800 physicians whose kids go to school in Henry County, I was obviously a little bit anxious about whether the schools were going to be open so that my employees could come to the hospital and take care of our patients. As we move forward, I'm really excited that Dr. Davis and Dr. Nooks from Gordon State College and I are working together to develop a pathway for Henry County students to get a degree in healthcare in an expedited fashion, to get real-life experience in the hospital while minimizing student debt. There's more to come about this, but this is what looking forward to the future in a collaborative manner looks like. The new STEM school that's been approved through East Plus and that's going to be built in Stockbridge, just down the street from Piedmont Henry, is just another example of how the school district and Piedmont Henry can work together to ensure opportunities for our Henry County students interested in science and in healthcare. The past 2 years has been really hard. Piedmont Henry Hospital cared for over 5,000 COVID patients, which represented almost 5% of all of the COVID patients hospitalized in the state of Georgia, while we only represented 1% of all the acute care beds in the state. We went over 499 days without a serious safety event in the midst of all this chaos. My courageous staff truly are heroes, and I'm so proud to work with such dedicated and compassionate individuals. We truly fulfill the Piedmont promise of making a positive difference in every life we touch. On some of our hardest days, I am so grateful to have received a comforting text or a prayer from Dr. Davis and her team, even though they were in the midst of all this chaos that they had to deal with as well. For this and our strong working relationships, I believe in Henry County Schools. I believe in the power of our young people, our shared values of belonging and connection, and our community's vision for the pursuit of an exceptional education for every child. Thank you.
These are community leaders who deserve more than a round of applause. They worked overnight through weekends for 24 consecutive months to make sure we had a healthcare system that was strong when we needed it most, that we had an economy that sustained the strains of a season of unprecedented unpredictability, and that we had, on the other side of a pandemic, a community with shared strength and shared focus on how we create incredible spaces for young kids. And that's what our community leadership partnership represents today. Now, navigating COVID required more from everyone in our community. It required more from every single employee in our school system. We're home to 43,000 students served in 52 schools and programs across the district, and that includes Impact Academy, which just a decade ago served a handful of students, and started this school year with 5,000 enrolled students as we opened up our campuses for on-campus learning in every one of our other campuses. And navigating COVID, well, it presented more than its share of obstacles, but the best education available was available right here in Henry County Schools because of the 6,000 employees that absolutely dedicated every day for kids. That includes 3,400 teachers who were flexible, tenacious. They never stopped caring about kids. They never stopped caring about their safety, their well-being, and, well, their learning. We started the school year 99% staffed in our certified positions, and believe it or not, we have a 97% retention rate of our teachers in years 1 to 3. We know we have work to do for our teaching profession, but let me tell you about a new teacher. An Ola Middle School first-year teacher, Mr. Stanley. Well, he's already mastered the instructional practices necessary in a classroom. But what was unbelievable was his commitment to build connectivity with every single student. As a first-year teacher, Mr. Stanley attended every single school athletic event and school event so that his kids could see he was going to be cheering for them no matter where they were performing. Mr. Stanley went well above and beyond the call of duty, but Mr. Stanley, like every one of our teachers, believes every kid needs a champion in their corner every day. And that's what teachers in Henry County Schools does. It's our 52 principals who need a long nap, and their leadership teams who led fearlessly. They should have laughed more than that, but maybe they're sleeping right now. I don't know. They led fearlessly. They led relentlessly. They literally led an entire community on their backs. I am so amazed by what leaders have been able to do with care and confidence the entire time. You know, our teachers could teach and our leaders could lead because we actually build such strong safety nets for kids that every need of a young person is met through their interaction with their school community. We make sure that a culture of care is not left to chance for kids. As a matter of fact, we have 22 social workers, and do you know what those 22 social workers have been able to do in this year alone? They made 600 home visits to make sure kids were safe, healthy, and ready to come back to school. 600 from 22 people. They served 1,300 students who in Henry County are identified as homeless. And they partnered with, of course, the amazing Operation Lunchbox, and they served 24,000 bags of groceries in this year alone. That's the Henry County social work team. But you know what? That's a bunch of numbers, and let me tell you, those numbers are powerful. But what's more powerful are the stories behind those numbers. I'm going to tell you about a student, and we're going to call him T. Well, T is considered an unaccompanied minor, meaning that he's without a parent or guardian and considered homeless. Well, T was not going to be left to chance in our culture of care. T has had the advocate and the assistance of our social workers. And those social workers ensured that T had an operable car, completed a FAFSA, completed college applications, and stayed on track to graduate on time with the class of 2022. Now, he's known for his incredible determination and positivity, but recently actually had a car break down, and his first concern was that he would be off track to get to graduation on time. Well, our social workers weren't going to let any barrier stand in the way. Our social workers found a way to repair the car, provide gas cards for use in the car, and have been right by his side to stay on track to graduation. And guess where I think they'll be going next year? We might be losing some social workers to college as they join T, a student that they have advocated for, because no child's future is left to chance in our hands. It's a powerful story, but it's one of millions where students are actually seen as families and barriers are removed and needs are met because our safety net is so strong. It's coupled with the 127 counselors who this year alone have conducted 24,000 small group counseling sessions with young people because they've been at the heart of keeping kids connected to school and on track academically. It's with our 53 mental health and wellness facilitators, a new role for Henry County Schools this very year, and now we honestly cannot remember what we ever did before they existed. When we returned to a full-time on-campus experience for 98% of our kids, they made more than 2,000 calls in the first 3 days of school to make sure families knew they had someone to connect to as they navigated the uncertainty. They built wellness plans at every school, and they facilitated what we call Henry Cares check-ins, which are just that, checking in. We wanted to make sure that mental health and wellness facilitators could connect with any student needing intervention at any given moment. Now, there's no doubt, students struggled, staff struggled. Quite frankly, I think the world has struggled. And we as a school system have felt the impact of that. And often, our employees were going far beyond the hours of a typical workday, starting in the early dawn of morning, well into the late night. And they were fulfilling our simple commitment. We started this year saying every child was to know that they are loved in a Henry County school, that they belong in a Henry County school, and that they have a caring adult to talk to if they ever need to. And we weren't perfect at this. And just like everywhere in communities, we have had our share of challenges. But for every instance of conflict, what you couldn't see behind that were principals, teachers, counselors, mental health and wellness facilitators, and so many employees dedicated to healing, to resolving, and to restoring hope and focus for young people. You see, we want our kids to find school to be a success without distractions, and our belief is that every student truly should know that they are deeply loved and that they deeply belong, and that we want to connect them with a champion for their life. And it's not just in our talk, it's actually in our actions to make sure every child has this feeling. Our psychologists actually facilitated 12,000 individual consultations for both teachers, staff, and students to provide additional support. Our SROs, which are staffed by our partner at the Sheriff's Office, have been a critical component to our safety strategy and a part of how we mentor and build relationships with kids. It's our 240 bus drivers who run 710 daily bus routes, and they transport 18,000 students every single day. And in 1 year, they will drive 1.8 million miles. And our school year started out and is still continuing to have some strains in supporting transportation of young people. And that affected the lives of every family, and it affected your commute as a community member. But despite those strains, our bus drivers deserve to be celebrated. Their resiliency and dedication to the way they make school accessible to kids is actually remarkable. And we have stabilized operations, but we know that an 89% on-time delivery rate is not good enough. And so we have a very dedicated improvement plan as we get ready for next year, including hiring new drivers, training with new techniques, and now being the district with the most competitive pay for drivers in the entire region. And here's the other thing about bus drivers. I'm not sure if you have to drive with 72 children behind you on a regular basis, but it isn't only about driving for them. Their relationships to kids are real. We had one bus driver who noticed that there was a student wearing the same clothes to school every day, and that bus driver connected with the school counselor. And together, bus driver and school counselor together supporting a family to provide additional resources in the home. Even more recently, there was a bus driver who noticed that there was a student who didn't want to stand at the bus stop. Asking why, they realized it was because an animal had been struck and was still there on the road. Do you know that after the entire route was run, that bus driver went back to that child's bus stop in order to remove that animal in order to create the space where a child felt comfortable to start their day? Our bus drivers are in and out of the lives of young people, and that's what makes it worthy to celebrate every one of those who serve in our transportation department. Now, you know, we're also home to 11 licensed nurses. 11 licensed nurses who had to navigate the ever-changing recommendations regarding COVID protocols. But those 11 nurses also single-handedly vaccinated 2,500 of our employees in the only closed point of distribution vaccination site in the state of Georgia, hosted by a school system. And it is the key reason why we were 93% vaccinated as a workforce right here in Henry County Schools. That is how we kept our employees healthy and our schools open for kids. Now, it's not just about our 11 nurses, it's our 53 clinic aides that they work with who have actually seen 110,000 visits to their clinic this year. Our 260 school nutrition employees never once stopped reporting to work after March 13th, 2020. And this school year alone, they served 4.8 million meals in both a curbside and an in-school, on-campus service style. We know that no child can go hungry in order to learn. And imagine supply chain challenges, staffing shortages, and delivery delays never phased our school nutrition staff for getting over the next hurdle and making a meal possible for our kids. We have 321 custodians who serve in our partner agency, and those custodians were critical to our cleansing and disinfecting techniques, but they also were critical to how we could keep schools open. Coupled with our grounds crew, do you know that our grounds crew manage 1,500 acres of land and 88 acres of natural turf and 23 acres of synthetic turf? Our grounds crew were critical to making athletics available to kids and keeping our schools ready to host our students. Now, our blue shirts, as they are affectionately known, our facilities and maintenance team, who first of all made this happen, have also completed 30,000 work orders this year, but that is after they completely redesigned the role that they played in our organization and installed all of our safety measures so that our schools could be open. And that included changing out 9,500 HVAC filters in this school year alone. It's 443 after-school employees that make an after-school program available for the families who need safe and reliable after-school care. Serving 2,000 students, our after-school program now includes STEM activities and physical education activities, making it a pure extension of that school day for our kids in after-school. And I believe we have a celebration for our 300 front office staff, bookkeepers, data clerks, our parent involvement professionals, and all of our assistants in the organization who answered countless questions, all of which that had no answers, yet they kept smiling and changed the answer the next day when there was a new answer to give. They took care of families every step along the way as everybody navigated a level of fear and concern. Do you know that as one of the only districts across the country that never missed a day of athletics, it was 800 athletic coaches and directors that made it possible for nearly 5,000 middle school and high school athletes to continue to participate and stay connected to a team and a coach. Now, we can celebrate the many athletic programs that are available to our young people, but it is not that they just participate, they're really good. 149 of our teams were in playoff contention this year. And we've had state championships in wrestling and in track, and we've had state runners-up in both girls and boys basketball, Luella High School girls and Eagles Landing High School boys. And I'll tell you, as Dr. Nutt knows, heartbreaking losses and the reason why I still barely have a voice. Our visual arts teachers, our marching band directors, our chorus, orchestra, and concert band conductors, well, they kept us singing and creating and performing. And you got to see that on display in the hallway as you arrived. More than 12,000 of our middle school and high school students are enrolled in one of the arts programs. And the district has been honored as the best community for music education 2 years running. And that is because of the continued commitment of our fine arts educators. We had 9 high schools compete in state one-act plays. We had 12 students who were selected for the all-state orchestra, choir, and band. And Mindy Forehand, a teacher at Ola High School, will be taking a group of students to the most prestigious Carnegie Hall this summer. It's absolutely stunning what's being accomplished by our young artists, musicians, and talented teachers. And to top it off, we hosted our very first ever district-wide art gallery called Kaleidoscope. 1,000 people attended the gallery at Hood Street, which had 700 pieces of art on display, and one Bethlehem Elementary School student commented, with stars in their eyes, I might say, "I never thought I would see my artwork in a gallery." That's what our arts program provides. We actually have had 367 events at our McDonough and Fairview Performing Arts Centers, hosting 71,000 attendees to those programs. It has been a year where so many normal things could not happen, but right here in Henry County Schools, our laser focus on kids kept them happening. So why does it matter that we change air filters, install hand sanitizer stations, serve breakfast and lunch, provide counsel and advising? It matters so teachers can teach, leaders can lead, and students can learn. Despite all the odds, it was a team of 6,000 employees that made that possible. And we can see today that there's some early indicators that reveal the story in Henry County is not wrapped up in the national headlines about irrecoverable learning loss. No doubt, we want our outcomes to continue to grow like they were pre-pandemic. But today, there are 3 key metrics that we can say can give us hope that we are on our way. In 3rd grade, our students were 1st graders in March of 2020. And today, 19% more of them are reading on grade level than when they were in 1st grade. That is what early educators did in a pandemic. 9th grade algebra is another key indicator, and our early indication of our winter state assessment, called the end of course test, shows the performance to be within 1% of pre-pandemic performance. And one high school, Stockbridge High School, 8 percentage points higher than pre-pandemic performance. That's what high school teachers across this district have been doing. And on track for graduation is obviously top of everyone's mind, as Mahari so eloquently celebrated the class of 2022, who I believe has 11 days left, at least according to him. I think we have 4 weeks, but I guess seniors have 11 days. And what this year's class we can see is that 92% of them are still on track to graduate on time, which is absolutely amazing. And what we also know is that there are young people in our 10th and 11th grades where we have acceleration that's necessary to return to being on track to graduate. Now, all of this has occurred in the middle of a pandemic and in the middle of a year of which August was still a part of. Like, this past August was still part of this year that we're still in. And that does seem like a decade ago. So I just thought I'd remind everybody that was still this year. But because our schools were open for learning, and so many of our students and staff had the opportunity to excel, we have Anaya Augustine from Eagles Landing, who won 1st place at the State Georgia Spelling Bee and will once again be in the National Spelling Bee this summer. And we're going for it this time. Our robotics competitions, which were showcased here today, 11 of our VEC students are going to the world competition, and that team told me this afternoon that they're on their way next week. We had 376 students participate in literacy days across this county, and 25 placed in the regional event. And in our Georgia Young Authors competition, 70 students competed locally, and 3 have won and have advanced to the state competition. Fine arts, academics, athletics, all made possible by the employees in Henry County Schools, surrounded by a community who poured all of their energy and their care into what was happening. One of our seniors, a Union Grove High School senior, was the star student, and she won the regional star competition and is now in the state competition. And her teacher, Amanda McClure, a Union Grove High School teacher, was just recognized as the Educator of the Year across the country by the American Architect Association. It is unbelievable what can be accomplished when everyone is focused on kids and focused on opportunities for them. This class of 2022, they were sophomores when this pandemic began. And I know we've all worried about them. But guess what? Not only are they ready to graduate at Atlanta Motor Speedway thanks to that amazing partnership, but they are graduating with $20 million in scholarships earned, 16 of which are in academics. That's what kids today can make possible despite the odds. We've offered dual enrollment classes from Stanford and Harvard and Arizona State for the very first time. And one of our students participating from Stockbridge High School was just identified as having the highest score on a recent cloud computing test, which I don't even know what that means. So that sounds amazing. This is on top of a real and present reality that COVID, it was devastating people. It was leaving us in grief. It churned with uncertainty. We started to refer to the peaks of COVID that always seemed to coincide with us trying to open school after some type of break. We referred to them as Everests because you really didn't know how hard the climb was until you realized you weren't even near the top. We grieved, we felt the weight, we cried, like more than once, a lot of crying, because we allowed ourselves to experience the humanity in the middle of it all. We honored loss with moments of silence, and we stood defeated so many days. But we never once stood alone. And never did we lose our focus caring about kids, their families, and each other as team members. And that is why we're here today. That is why I believe in public education. It's why I believe we, each and every one of us, belong in Henry County right now. And it is why we can have together confidence that our future is indeed bright. I am so thankful that you have joined us today. We are going to showcase our young people who are extraordinary. And I believe you will leave here joining me, believing in public education, belonging right here in Henry County, and having confidence in an extraordinary future in the hands of today's youth.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to the state of our schools. Another big round of applause for Superintendent Davis. And also a big round of applause for our board members and the incredible work they do each and every day. Thank you. You'll see why here in just one second when you get the opportunity to hear from our students and our teachers about the impact that they're able to make each and every day, why our board and our superintendent are able to do what they do. It is a calling, no doubt, and we are so fortunate to be able to hear from many of these students and teachers here today. I get the opportunity to introduce a little segment or a little portion of today's presentation, and that's called HenryVoices, excuse me. Spawned from an idea to really hear from the individuals that educators are called to serve, and that's our students. And so we have 3 students that competed amongst hundreds of students for the opportunity to share their voice. And we are going to take the opportunity also to have a sponsor. We want to give special recognition to Georgia United Credit Union and Mr. Steve Overcash. Steve, where are you? There he is right there. Big round of applause for Georgia United. He's going to be able to introduce those students here momentarily. And let me just tell you, if you don't leave here with chills from what you hear from them today, we have a nurse in the audience who will check your pulse at the door, all right? So with that being said, Steve, please introduce our first speaker today and sit back and enjoy.
Well, thank you, JD. I'm not sure which one of these mics is on, but hopefully one of them is. So again, my name is Steve Overcash with Georgia United Credit Union. We have a long-standing partnership with Henry County Schools, and we're so excited to be able to sponsor this event today. Our first winner of the Henry Voices speech contest is an honor roll student in the 5th grade at Woodland Elementary in Stockbridge. His entry into the Henry Voices contest is all about believing in Henry County schools. Please help me welcome Kendall Scharf.
He believed he could, so he did. I want you to let that quote marinate for a moment. Hi, I'm Kendall Scharf, and I believe in myself because I am the one in control of my own destiny. Showing confidence in my abilities will allow me to be more successful in life. More importantly, if I don't believe in myself, how can I expect others to believe in my abilities? The message in life is clear. Self-confidence is not something you have, but something you create. I believe in myself because it affects everything I do and is the key to life. I am able to accomplish my goals and am one step closer to being successful. I challenge you to channel my mantra. Essentially, believing in myself will allow me to make decisions and learn responsibility. Ultimately, as I become an adult, I will know the true meaning of self-belief and avoid self-sabotaging behaviors. This will allow me to provide a powerful and positive influence on others and in life. In conclusion, I believe in myself because I am my own hero. So, when all else fails, I encourage you to look in the mirror like I do and say these words. I believe in myself because I am worth it.
Hi, my name is Jade, and I'm a 5th grade student at New Hope Elementary. I also serve as the president of the Superintendent's Elementary Student Advisory. I am so excited to be here today and introduce our next speaker. She's a 12-year veteran teacher from Woodland Elementary School. She holds many degrees, including a master's in curriculum and instruction. She is certified to teach elementary and middle school, as well as special education. Since joining Henry County Schools, she has taught in the Woodland cluster. During this time, she has taught a variety of grade levels and subjects to diverse groups of students. Ms. Gonzalez currently serves as an Early Intervention Program, EIP, teacher and holds other leadership responsibilities at Woodland Elementary. She believes that teaching children and colleagues is a calling and a great charge that requires her full mind and heart. Her goal is to empower each person or student that she encounters. Please help me welcome Ms. Vicki Gonzalez.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Jade. I just want to put on record that Merriam-Webster has an incredibly unpowerful definition of the word believe. It states it as having faith or confidence in the existence or worth of something. As a child, I believed in the existence of Little Bunny Foo-Foo, monsters under my bed, and most especially Smurfs. But as I have gotten older and wiser, my beliefs seem to shift more toward the latter part of that unmemorable definition, having faith in the worth of something rather than its mere existence. I find myself believing more so in the things that matter, the things that hold value in my life. It's no surprise then that the students in front of me each and every day are at the very center of my career belief system. After all, I pour every piece of myself into providing children with engaging lessons, practice-enriched strategies, checkpoints to gauge progress, and then, like all things that require faith, the most trying and difficult part of all, waiting in anticipation for the reward, to see the light bulbs go off and knowledge take hold. I am able to do all of those things with confidence because I value what I do. I value you, and I value them. I have this type of regard for education because I know in my heart the worth that I put into them ultimately leads to something even more incredible than my own personal gain. I have the advantage to watch as my students, get this, they begin to have a belief in themselves, a belief that can become so strong that despite the obstacles in front of them, against the voices of those around, and in the very face of the necessary hard work, they are encouraged, prepared, and excited to envision their own possibilities. So you see, Merriam-Webster, to believe is indeed an incredibly remarkable thing after all. I see its influence every day. Thank you.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong to a community of professionals driven to support students.
Oh, I belong to a community where game planning helps students have successful outcomes.
I belong to a community where my talents and skills can be on display.
I belong to a community where I can excel on and off the field, in and out of the classroom.
I belong to a community where everyone working together adds up to equal opportunities for all students.
I belong to a community where to be our best self, we have to feel like our best self.
I belong to a community where we care about nourishing our children.
Hey, I belong to a community that values maintaining our facilities for our students.
I belong to a community where we draw inspiration from the environment around us.
Hey,
I belong to a community where everyone working in a group together results in a symphony of success.
I belong to a community of exceptional learners.
I belong to a community that values safety for our students and staff.
I belong to a community where a smile and a helping hand can foster everyone's sense of belonging.
I belong to a community where leading starts with listening. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I belong to a community that values the role we play.
I belong to a community where your well-being is held at its highest regard.
I belong to a community who believes in the power of access to information and knowledge.
I belong
Voices Speeches contest is talented when it comes to expressing words, as she is also known for her poetry accomplishments. The honor roll student is an 8th grade student at Eagles Landing Middle School and just had the opportunity to welcome guests at the STEM High School Future Home Celebration. She's sharing her words about belonging in Henry County Schools. Please help me welcome Jody Gist.
Good afternoon. My name is Jody Gist. I am very excited to share with you the variety of ways that I know I belong to Henry County. The supportive teachers empower me, as well as my classmates, to be the best student possible. We are always encouraged to ask questions about any subject that we may be learning. The teachers also embrace our interest and success. One experience that proves this is when my 6th grade teacher introduced me to the advanced math class. Now I am an 8th grader taking geometry and receiving high school credit, all because I was provided with the opportunity that led to my success. This also supports Henry County's mission and vision, which states, Henry County wants to ensure a high-quality, world-class education for every student. In the generation of increasing diversity, keeping a world-class education helps make sure every student belongs. Outside of academics, I enjoy representing Henry County in several extracurricular activities. I feel like I belong because of the culturally diverse programs offered to me. This is an era of empowerment for various ethnicities. Therefore, it is especially important for me as I aim to be the voice of Henry County, ensuring inclusion for every student. I once read a quote that said, for some people, the feeling of being left out lasts for more than a moment. I appreciate that Henry County does not tolerate bullying, racism, or gender injustices. My teachers have certainly helped develop the leadership characteristics that I now possess. Through perseverance, hard work, and the outstanding educational opportunities, I know that we can all excel as global society representatives from Henry County. Thank you.
Incredible voices so far. Hopefully my microphone comes. There it is. We appreciate both Jody and Kendall so very much and the words that they've been able to share with each and every one of you. Now, typically we would have the middle school teacher of the year that would come up and introduce, and being able to share some words. Unfortunately, the reigning teacher of the year, who does represent our middle schools, Ms. Jennifer Brown from Hampton Middle School, is unable to be with us. We send her well wishes at this time. But I want to share something that she stated at the Teacher of the Year celebration, really representative of her and her beliefs here in Henry County Schools. And she says, and I quote, "I belong as a teacher in Henry County Schools because Henry County Schools has some of the best educators in the world, dedicated to being exceptional and accountable for all students learning every day." Again, Jennifer, we send our well wishes to you and hope that you get better. But at this time, I would like to introduce the person who will be introducing the next individual who's filling in a pinch. The Teachers of the Year are a nice collective of professionals here in Henry County Schools. I'm going to turn it over to Hannon. Hannon, where are you? There you are right there. Turn your attention to Hannon. He'll introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Henry County. My name is Hannon Grimwood-Moss, and I'm the president of the Superintendent's Middle School Student Advisory. Our next speaker is Mr. James Forsyth, who was last year's Teacher of the Year and who continues to be an incredible teacher leader in our district. Mr. Forsyth is currently an exceptional student education teacher and department chair at Luella High School, teaching students living with severe and profound intellectual disabilities and the autism spectrum disorder. He holds multiple post-secondary degrees, including a Master's of Education in Special Education. Giving back to his community and supporting his students are extremely important to Mr. Forsyth. His passion for teaching and making sure students know that they belong is always on display. Please help me welcome Mr. James Forsyth.
Thank you, Hannon, for that wonderful introduction. I am pleased to have been given the opportunity tonight to speak on behalf of Ms. Jennifer Brown, who was unable to attend this evening. When asked why I belong and what our county, our school system has meant to me professionally and personally, so many incredible experiences have come to mind. Educators in our school system are afforded the opportunity to shape the future leaders of tomorrow. Imagine for 1 minute a world where individuals knew they had both value and a purpose, that they could overcome any challenge because it was okay to take risks and that their mistakes were only opportunities to become better. Being a teacher is far more rewarding than you could possibly imagine. Within my classroom, no school day goes by without students repeating 3 lines. I am smart, I am loved, and I am important. They are placed on the classroom wall and remain a constant reminder throughout the day. With each passing year in special education, I see how each individual, regardless of their developmental level, responds to positive encouragement, consistent praise, and reinforcement. Learning and reaching their individual goals is always at the forefront, but ingrained in each task are those vital reminders that you can do it, keep trying, don't give up, and I knew you could do it. Within our county, we have adopted and pushed a movement led by 2 important words: expect exceptional. When students are provided the opportunity to demonstrate their abilities, have equal access to a meaningful educational experience, and are led by a caring and supportive teacher, the outcomes remain profound. Students fully invest themselves and they take ownership of their learning in what is seen as a classroom where students enjoy coming to school each day. For me, this is what it means to expect exceptional. More than ever, we must continue to be superheroes in the eyes of our students. We are who they look up to, confide in, and trust in during the good times and the bad. Students are more receptive and willing to learn from a teacher when they know first that that teacher cares for them. I firmly believe that our students will not only remember the content that they've learned, but they will also remember their teachers were willing to care for them, show compassion, and that they had great value in the eyes of each teacher. For me, this is why I believe with all my heart that our school system is where I belong. Thank you.
I believe in Henry County Schools. Hi, I'm William Watkins, the Chief Medical Officer at Piedmont Henry Hospital. The system is dedicated to the well-being and safety of their students and staff. The leadership team has developed a dynamic and innovative strategic plan. Each student is given the necessary tools for a fulfilling future.
I believe in Henry County Schools because we are committed to the success of all learners.
I'm Brandon Hutchison, Executive Vice President and General Manager of Atlanta Motor Speedway. I believe in Henry County Schools. Our system's leadership, educators, and support staff are some of the best in the state. The Henry County School System leads by example. Thanks for taking the front line with our children to make Henry County a better community.
Hi, my name is Joe Richardson, and I am an urban planner, and I believe in Henry County Schools. It has contributed to who I am today.
This is Josh Finn, Executive Director of Henry County Development Authority, and on behalf of the Development Authority, we believe in Henry County Schools. The school system team has done a great job and continuing to set the bar higher in standards and achievement, and we appreciate all that y'all do.
I believe in Henry County Schools and the leaders, teachers, and families who will continue to make our county a great place for education.
I believe in Henry County Schools because the teachers are molding the way of the future with the children they bring up in the education system. Hands down, the best county to be in right here, Henry County, Georgia.
I believe in Henry County Schools because our exceptional school system is a key pillar in the success of our community. And Henry County Schools are true partners to Henry County government by helping our students to achieve and our county to thrive.
I believe in Henry County Schools. It's because we do those things that are right and not always popular.
I believe in Henry County Schools.
Video. Georgia United believes in Henry County Schools as well. Our final winner of the HenryVoices contest is another accomplished student in the classroom. With his sights set on graduating next year, this distinguished junior from Woodland High School is sharing why he believes in his future thanks to Henry County Schools. Please help me welcome Emmanuel Gartner.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Gartner, and I am a junior at Woodland High School. I believe in the future because it signifies the introduction of change commonly associated with growth. As humans, we make a myriad of mistakes throughout our lives, but more importantly, we're able to take accountability for our actions and learn from these mistakes in order to become more efficacious in this undefined future. Future generations will be able to look back into our society today and approach precarious situations with ease by following the road that we paved for them. As a Henry County resident all of my life, in our community, this can be observed through the expanding population's diversity, allowing our humble citizens to thrive by welcoming new, innovative, and creative minds into social, political, and economic aspects such as the amphitheater, collage for selfies, and possible addition of downtown Stockbridge. Beyond this, the future also promises a sense of hope through the anonymity that it possesses. I am a major advocate for mental health services in schools because of the toll that the pandemic has taken on students' social and academic lives. Therefore, I hope that our future guarantees changes in this field, among others, to counter the astronomically high number of cases of depression and anxiety in our county in order to make greater strides to improve our nation as a whole. This may take the form of additional mental health services for elementary, middle, and high schoolers, as well as classes that these students may be able to take for credit that surround receiving treatment to better their mental states. Although the future is a blank canvas for fate to dance upon with bristles of chance and luck, it still provides an opportunity for us to choose the colors and shape the world we want our progeny to experience so that they can further our progress and make a greater Henry County. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I know, me again. So, today I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, who is also a recent teacher of this year's finalists and is here representing the Lions of Luella. A proud Atlanta native and graduate of Benjamin E. Mays High School, Kierce has earned a plethora of different degrees leading up to and during her teaching career, including a Master's of Education in Teaching and Learning from Liberty University. She has been teaching choral music for the past 17 years in both the middle and high school settings. Currently, she is the Director of Choral Activities and Fine Arts Department Chairperson at Luella High School. A legacy to keep, an image to uphold, is a quote by Dr. Benjamin E. Mays that has stuck with Kierce since high school. She always strives to ensure that a legacy is left for generations to come, and this is why teaching is a passion for Kierce. As not only teaching students, but mentoring new teachers is a rewarding experience for her. Please help me give a warm welcome to Miss Quinyana Kierce.
Thank you, Mahari. I believe in the future because it stands before me each day I walk into the classroom. In fact, I've had many encounters with the future thanks to each student whom I've ever taught. I have seen some of the smartest, most talented, and most hardworking people I've ever met. These young people are filled with unprecedented ambition and drive towards their goals. They are relentless and independent in their way of thinking, something that we as adults should chase after. Being named High School Teacher of the Year speaks to the amount of belief I have in the future, an amount that is immeasurable yet evident. The over 43,000 students in our system are living proof that the future exists. Think about it. Who's going to fill your shoes once you retire? Who's going to be the doctor of your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren? Who's going to influence legislation for this nation in the years to come? And who will be the educators of our future? One of the many bright and talented children we are blessed to be in the presence of each and every day. I am grateful for this opportunity to inspire the students of Luella High School as they are the embodiment of the state of our future. Through consistent communication and acts of motivation, I have been able to help students make crucial life decisions about plans beyond high school. Through my work, I am excited to work with future singers, actors, artists, doctors, lawyers, Congress members, and last but certainly not least, educators. When we realize that the future is before us, a shift must be made in the way that we interact with our students. As educators, we hold the power of being the primary influence in a child's life. With that power, we can fuel our students with the words of encouragement that cause them to be proactive in their aspirations. Instead, sometimes we choose to cry that there's no hope for this up-and-coming generation. However, this rhetoric is detrimental to the foundation of the future. As educators, we hold the responsibility of empowering students to succeed in global society. Sit, have an in-depth conversation with your students, instill vital life lessons, and reinforce the positive behavior that they are learning at home. By doing so, you will be setting society up for greatness in years to come. Thank you.
All right, so that wraps up Henry's Voices. Let's give him another big round of applause. Because when you think about believing, belonging, and believing in the future, no greater voices, collection of voices could say it better than the three students and the three teachers you just heard from. So congratulations to all of them, and we want to thank them for their just sharing their wisdom and their insight with us all. Now, we have the opportunity to welcome back to the stage our Superintendent of Schools to really put a bow on, really the state of schools. So please help me welcome back to the stage Superintendent Mary Elizabeth Davis.
That's right. We're going to put a bow on why you're going to have to join me when I say I believe in public education. I mean, was that not a phenomenal display of what our youth and our educators do every day? It gave you a glimpse. Students, teachers, leaders, and staff, they're amazing. But it's our Board of Education and their unified governance model that sets the conditions for what our children get to experience every day. I know that you recognize their tireless public service as members of our Board of Education, but it's also their work in setting our future and our vision clearly forward. With action they'll take in the next month, we will be positioned to adopt an FY23 budget that has historic investments in our students. Over the past 2 years, the per-student investment will have increased $1,000, meaning more STEM activities, including a STEM special in every one of our 28 elementary schools, robotics equipment in K2, 3, 5, and in our middle schools, coding programs in elementary and middle, and an investment in fine arts programs so that over the next 5 years, every one of our elementary schools has a theater program, a chorus program, and our middle and high have the same plus orchestra and band. So no matter where you go to school, your access to STEM, to the arts, to academics and athletics is extraordinary. Over the next 5 years, there will be financial literacy standards, K-12, in partnership with our financial literacy leaders in the community. You know, we asked our community, what does success look like? And how would you measure it? And I'm not going to spend a lot of time today, don't worry, talking about accountability and how we're going to just keep getting better. But please know that we understand that we aren't satisfied yet. There will be local accountability metrics that are driven from our community-inspired accountability, and that our board has set 5-year goals around, including access to world language, reading on grade level, student access in AP coursework, students graduating eligible for the Zell Miller Scholarship, making sure that Henry County Schools is going above and beyond what is necessary because our kids deserve beyond. And our strategic plan is clear about the work of our next 5 years. And we are constantly updating the board and in public forums and providing evidence on our website of all of the activities that have occurred. And I'd encourage you to stay tuned, stay involved, and stay connected to the great work happening for kids. You know, investing in our students also requires historic investments in the professionals that make learning possible. And our board has seen with complete unity the need for competitive compensation for our teachers, our paras, our classified job families, and our leaders. And in this budget, we'll make historic improvements with an 8% raise for teachers and paraprofessionals, among many other great strides in competitive compensation. And investments continuing after last year's investments in all job families with starting salaries below $15 an hour, because all of the statistics I gave you, every adult a champion for every child, is priceless. We know we need to make strides in competitive compensation, but you know what else we also have to focus on? A very clear reset on the reality of the workload falling on teachers' plates. We have convened principals and teachers to try to grapple with how do we create a better balance for our teachers' workload, and we will now enter into a study with an external partner on how we become the district that changes the profession and restores the balance so that effectiveness is possible for every kid in every classroom every day. I'm excited about not only investing in teachers and all of the professionals that make an education possible, but I'm also excited that we are a community that cares about the wellness of our professionals and is going to ambitiously pursue being better. You know, our East Blast program is proceeding with ambition thanks to you. Many of you in the room have led our East Blast 6 campaign, and immediately in March of 2020, after that passed, we got started to work. We are able to tell you that the Dutchtown High School addition is well underway. We've purchased 37 new buses in this year alone with an ambitious commitment to replacing our fleet over the next 10 years. Our Birch Creek Elementary School, which will relieve Wesley Lakes and Oakland Elementary, is scheduled to open in the fall of 2024, and the site of the former Patrick Henry High School has just been named the future home of our first STEM high school, scheduled to be open in the fall of 2026. You know, we're emerging from a pandemic. Surely we are emerging from a pandemic. I think I said that this time last year, but this time for real, we are emerging from a pandemic with stronger cross-community partnerships, a shared vision, and a commitment to get better. Our 5-year strategic plan commits to more opportunities, more access, and better outcomes for every single kid, no matter your classroom, your school, or your community in any corner of this county. And we publicly acknowledge that we are not where we need to be, but we continue our ambitious pursuit to be the fastest improving and highest achieving school district on behalf of kids, while we are known for our connectivity to kids and our belief in the capability of every child. And I know it can be said that I have rose-colored glasses, but right now I don't even know because I can't even see anything out of these glasses. But if you look around and see what I see, well, you would too. because there is nothing but belief. And while we will get better for each other, for kids, and for our community, I believe in public education, and I invite you to believe in it with me too. For every staff member, for every community member, and most importantly, for every kid, you belong in Henry right now. And I have confidence in our future because every kid has remarkable potential that is about to be discovered and will change this world. I am so thankful you joined us today. I would like to invite our Board of Education members to join me on stage because we are going to close this out celebrating kids and celebrating you. If the board members can join me on stage.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. And as our board members make their way to the stage, we'd also like to ask our 3 HenryVoices winners, Emmanuel, Jody, and Kendall, come join us up on stage as well. And
were they not amazing?
Let's give them a big round of applause again. We also have Mr. Overcash going to be joining us up here as well. Come on down, Emmanuel. Give him a big round of applause, our high school winner right here. Come on up, Kendall. I see you right there. And Jody, I think she's making her way back here. Front and center is where you guys should be. Come on down. Because really, when we set out to do this, we offered, thanks to the generosity of Georgia United Credit Union and Mr. Overcash, we had the opportunity to provide a monetary prize for these 3 students. 3 separate $500 scholarships. Pretty generous, yes? And what would a contest that involves money be without some big oversized check that won't fit in the tube, all right? So, Kendall, where are you? There you go, dude. All right, hang it on your wall. They will not cash it at the bank, all right? Jody, there you go, right there. And then here you go, Emmanuel. Hold them up, right there. We're going to ask our board to join in behind them. Y'all coming just a little bit forward, not off the stage, all right? We don't need any accidents. We're going to get some photos. Mr. Christopher's going to take you guys' photo. Let's give them another big round of applause. Just make sure you guys have your IDs whenever you go try to cash those, all right? So, but that's it. We want to give them another big round of applause for this, for their many accomplishments, for their voices. This won't be the last time you hear from these students. So thank you guys. You're welcome to go back to your seats. And thank you, board. If you guys will hang tight with us just for 1 second. We are very, very close to the very end of today's presentation. I want to take the opportunity to recognize many of the people who made this possible today. There was a very small committee that really worked behind the scenes. They probably won't raise their hand or stand up, but we're going to call them out anyway. Lisa Manross, Robin Wilson, Allison Norsworthy, Courtney Jones. Give them a big round of applause. We have the wonderful talents of Mr. Jeff Bass and his crew who are live streaming today's event. We also have the wonderful talents of our Performing Arts Center, Chip Forehand and his entire crew. You see them all around. Barry Miles and, of course, our blue shirts, as you heard from them. Incredible efforts. Hey, you didn't know you could black out the skylights like that to make sure that this was a very intimate setting. Just wonderful all the way around. Pam Burgess, where are you? There she is right there. From the students that you heard speaking to the speeches, Jolly, where are you? Jolly's back here. He, a coach, that helped him out. Where did he go? Oh, he's over there on the side too. Thank you so very much. These students were already amazing. They took it over the top. We also had our science, our STEM, robotics groups over there on the side. I hope you guys got to see their talents on display. Big round of applause for them too. And then lastly, on your tables, you have your program, and I hope you, some of you may have noticed there might have been a little dot on your program. There is a special prize that comes with that. So if you have a green dot, you are the proud recipient of the succulents that are sitting on your table right there. So enjoy those. I don't know that they need a lot of water, so I think they may be kill-proof. And then if you have an orange dot, that wonderful table centerpiece that has the I Believe statement on the backside and the artwork on the other side, that is yours to take home, courtesy of these fine pieces of artwork that you see, the original artwork over here on the side. So incredible talents on display from all of our students. One more big round of applause for all of them. And truly, we, after all the words that were shared, after all the, the thoughts and ideas that were expressed by our students, and of course, all the wonderful highlights that were shared by our superintendent, you think, how could we top all that? Well, we've got a special treat for you. At this time, we would like to let you sit back and relax. The last portion of today's event, before we round it all out, are the musical talents, the many talents on display by our elementary honors chorus under the direction of Ms. Heidi Long. We want to give them a big welcome to today's event, and let's sit back and listen. You guys.
With just one small voice, singing out a song. With just one small voice, singing sweet and strong. One by one they'll grow, and together sing along. And then soon all the world will be singing. With just one small voice, singing out a song. With just one small voice, singing sweet and strong. One by one they'll grow, and together sing along. And then soon all the world will be singing. With just one small voice, singing out a song. With just one small voice, singing sweet and strong. One by one they'll grow, and together sing along. And then soon all the world will be singing. And then soon all the world will be singing.
I'm not going to sing with them. Thank you, Heidi Long, and I hope that car rider worked out at Cotton Indian today. And I'm amazed by the talents of our youth, and I want to thank our volunteers today, and of course, our multimedia and communications team who don't thank themselves. You are our community, and this is our future. Thank you for being with us today. Good job.